Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here, Big Sports News for Access Rotation, whatever floats your flipping boat. And I am here to give you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into this week's matches. That, of course, being week 3 of Stage 4 of the CDL, hosted in California somewhere by the league, since no teams are hosting this one, since Carolina Major fell through. That is a mouthful, but onto the intro. So yeah, guys, after that mouthful of a statement,
Pause.
as you may or may not know, the Carolina Royal Ravens are not hosting Major Four. Old News League's hosting it somewhere in Cali. I'll post on the screen here when I figure it out. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the matches. Of course, just as a quick aside, no Dempsey this week. I am on the road. I'm currently at home in Atlanta, actually. Had a little vacay. My brother had a Pokemon tournament in New Orleans. He went to NAIC. So yeah, some guy at NAIC actually tapped me on the back. I was wearing my Faze jersey, and he said Atlanta Faze is ass. So Pokemon community, I guess they know Call of Duty, but they're on that Internet Explorer ish. So they think that Faze is Vanguard Phase, I guess. So if there's anyone from the Pokemon community watching my videos, Faze is currently 30-6 series count this year with one event win and not placing outside the top 3. So there's that. But yeah, enough ranting and raving about my weekend and some of the weird things that people did to my back to tell
Pause.
me that my team is bad, even an hour after they 3-0'd LAG. It was on Sunday, and yeah, I digress. Anyways, kicking things off with Subliners taking on the Rokkr. Subliners, they beat the low man allegations. I think Rokkr, they look a lot better. They obviously beat Optic 3-2 before Accuracy had to take his leave. Sparks coming in, honeymoon cheese. I'll say close 3-1 for the Rokkr. I don't want to get caught slipping and then Rokkr wins a map and everybody's like, Chris, you're a moron. So we'll say 3-1. Carolina versus Optic. Carolina obviously just beat LA Thieves. LA Thieves have definitely shown that they're in a weird place. Joe Deceives has been struggling quite a bit. Kremp has been struggling here and there. Dan has had some slow maps here and there. Thieves are a little bit out of form. I don't know if I'm necessarily buying too heavy into the Carolina stock right now. Even as a Faze fan, sorry, I just kicked this table. Faze wasn't looking that good when Carolina took him to game 5. LA Thieves has been looking a little bit shaky. Optic, conversely, has been looking very shaky against teams like Minnesota, Vegas. Vegas has looked a lot better. Minnesota has not necessarily looked that much better. So I'll say Carolina Royal Ravens. If there's a sub base here, I will say 3-1. But I think Rio and Six Star most likely make it through because they're strong maps for Carolina. And Optic is trying to definitely get more reps on those newer maps. I see high rise control coming through, which favors Carolina slightly. I'll say 3-2 Carolina. Just think maps quickly. You guys know I'm an analyst, so I do vetoes and stuff, and I think these series. So yeah, I'll say 3-2 Carolina. I think a lot of Optics maps are Carolina's maps. So given Carolina's recent form and Optics recent form, I'll say Carolina. Boston's recent form and Faze's recent form, I'll say 3-0 Faze, and we'll call Friday there. Also, as I announced on Twitter recently, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we have double boosts. I'm gonna move my face so I can tell many double point boosts I have. And we only have 2 weeks left, so make sure to get your double points in. Let's use double points on Faze versus Boston. I'm pretty confident that this will be a DoorDash special. Hold the catch up. And if you're in Atlanta, don't get a drink because they'll steal it. Um, yeah, Heretics versus Ravens. I usually get these wrong, so let's consult the ledger. Okay, so who's typically won? Miami has been walking away with this one pretty convincingly. Last played in March. Carolina won March 10th. That had to be online because Miami went 0-3 on land. And I think Carolina beat them on land. So the only time they've beaten them is on land. Every other time they played online, and Miami's won, which leads me to believe that Miami might be onliners. Given how Call of Duty is and the importance of this series in terms of Carolina getting into the eighth seed and Miami potentially gatekeeping them from said eighth seed. Game 5, Carolina. You guys know I put my faith in Clay quite a few times this season, and it has not always gone well for me, but we go again. Next series, Guerillas versus Breach. Somebody's always got to go. And these guys have been trading for a while. Wow, this does not get easier. Game 5 was the last series that these two teams played. I believe LAN? Was that LAN? I don't know. Anyways, anywho, given the standing of both teams, how both guys have played, Major Maniac, Beans, Snoop, and Priesta, they've gotten pretty close, but no cigar. I mean, they almost beat Rokkr in the game 5. Guerillas are lesser opponents than Rokkr in my mind, so I think Boston is due. I think they'll get their first victory since February here. And I'm like slightly confident in this. Not very confident, slightly. So book it. Next series, we have Las Vegas taking on the Seattle Sergey. Vegas Legion in 5. Let's say that. I really liked what I've seen from Vegas, obviously beating two top 4 teams, one of which New York being the team that Seattle was unable to beat themselves last week, day prior. I'll say game 5, Vegas. Call me biased. Call me what you want. I'm going to say game 5, Vegas. I think we have a lot of game 5s on Saturday. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of these series have parity between the teams, and also the seeding for champs is important. Obviously, the Boston versus LAG series, Boston can only play spoiler and keeping LAG from getting closer to champs qualification. But the Legion Surge series is a champs qualification series, as is Heretics Carolina. Both are very close qualifying. I'll post leaderboards on the screen so you guys can see. Yeah, so I'm thinking Vegas here. Monster Energy double point series. This is a marquee matchup. I think it's gonna be an interesting one, but I think Vegas game 5 will stay there. Next series, LAT versus Ultra. Over the season, I feel like the series has been pretty close overall. As you guys can see, the two times they played has been 3-1 in favor of Ultra, but I feel like the respawn's been pretty close for Thieves. They just are a step below Ultra. I don't see the 3-1 cheese changing, so we'll just stick with that. Okay, well, I guess Ultra's doing double duty. Last game is Saturday, first game is Sunday. And I'm not sure how the new look Rokkr will look. In terms of the matches, I might change this based on how New York versus Minnesota goes. So be sure to look out for my betting picks on Sunday, as well as just my tweets, because I will let you guys know what I'm thinking day of. But yeah, I think based on how Toronto's been looking lately, they've really been looking the most consistent of the top 4. More consistent than Faze right now, more consistent than Optic, and certainly more consistent than Subliners. So I'll say DoorDash from Toronto. They've looked to be the most consistent in the top 4 online so far, which brings me to my next point, Faze versus LA Thieves. This is always an interesting one. Faze won the last 5, I think. Oh, no. They lost one to the Draws at LA Thieves last year at Major 4, which LA Thieves actually won. I have highlights from that. If you guys want to go back and watch all of the Major 4 highlights, that was where BZ got that famous ace on NYSL. We had some great moments there. And I have a lot of shorts from Major 4 and Bottom Worker too. So if you want to go on a rabbit hole, go through the channel and check out Major 4 highlights. But yeah, anyways, DoorDash is on the mind for Atlanta Faze versus LA Thieves. I know a lot of people in LA order DoorDash. I know a lot of people in Atlanta order DoorDash. That's why it's a DoorDash series, and I think it's DoorDash for Faze. So getting into our next series. Ooh, we have Optic versus Subliners. I think Dempsey's going to like the way I side this time. No, he's not. Actually, I feel like Optic just has too much pressure on the map for a team like Subliners. I was gonna say based on the form that Optic has been in, but looking at the schedule, they only play on Friday and Sunday. And if they lose to Carolina, like I'm expecting them to, I think Optic will finally rebound with a victory over the New York Subliners, kind of correcting what most people thought was a slight fall off. So in our last matchup of the weekend, we have the Vegas Legion taking on the LA Guerillas. Points for champs. Okay, I had to think. I'm like, scheduling gods, why? But points for champs. This makes sense. I'll post the leaderboard on the screen so you guys can see just how close these two teams are. Maybe LAG is not as close as I thought, but I know Vegas definitely got back into the eighth seed with their victory over New York Subliners, which is part of the reason why that was somewhat foreseeable. Um, so yeah, if you're betting, just be wary of that with the top teams. A lot of these guys like Rokkr, Carolina, they're trying to get into champs qualification. So Thieves versus Ultra, obviously trap game, right? Champs qualification for Thieves, not so much for Ultra. Map testing for Ultra, Super Trap. Rokkr versus Ultra, same thing. Thieves versus Faze, same thing. We might see a sub base in Thieves versus Faze. Thieves, I don't think they're good on sub base, but they might be. I can't remember them playing it a whole lot. I know they play Optic on it, but that's a square up thing. But anyways, yeah. So given the form of Vegas Legion and just the unpredictability of the Gorillas, we'll say the Gorillas get a map. LA Gorillas, they all jokes aside, I know I keep calling them the Gorillas as a meme, excuse me. But yeah, I think they probably take a map. I'm just not sure what to expect from Vegas. You guys know I've been a fan for a long time. That's why my expectations are managed. Vegas has been disappointing me for a long time. And I think they're doing better, but we're not clear of the fraud woods yet. We haven't gotten out of those yet. So yeah, they could be as big as the Black Forest, or they could be as small as Inland Park. Who knows? But yeah, that'll just about wrap it up for me. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night wherever you be on this beautiful planet. Like I said before, once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, your access rotation. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that I've said, be sure to comment down below. Give me some hate, give me some love, give me some feedback, whatever you're feeling in your heart. And be sure to stay tuned to the Twitter. I will give live betting calls as usual. And yeah, hope you guys are all the top this weekend. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night wherever you may be on this beautiful planet, like I said before. And stay tuned for the content next week. Dempsey and I will be back. And yeah, be back to our regularly scheduled programming. So yeah, catch you guys then. Enjoy all the COD. Peace.